And joining us now from Hong Kong, Richard Yetsenga, Global Head of Emerging Markets Forex Strategy at HSBC. Hi, Richard. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi.
I mean, you heard what Mike said then. It didn't work in 2004. Will it work in 2010?
Well, look, I guess the question is, it depends what you mean by work. I mean, I think at the moment the Japanese authorities would probably be happy with at least, stopping the move to a stronger yen in the near term. If they can get a little bit of a reversal in the short term, that's probably some icing on the cake. And then we'll just see. At the very least, though, I think for people who thought the yen was a one-way bet, there's a bit of two-way action there now, which is an achievement in itself, I think.
It seems as if the moves, Richard, were unilateral, but how will other governments, such as the US, take this action? I mean, A, will they be critical of it in silence? B, could they possibly come on board in future acts of intervention?
Oh, look, I mean, highly unlikely under current global circumstances that any of the other, major G7 economies are partners in this intervention. After all, it's hard to see who else is suffering any ill effects from global currency moves at this point. It's really just Japan that has an issue with the level of its own currency. So at the moment, this is unilateral. I think for the rest of Asia, though, central banks that have been arguing against excessive liberalisation of capital accounts, excessively volatile currencies, and there you could, obviously China, but also Korea, Taiwan and a few others, are probably feeling that this bolsters their case.
Are you surprised, Richard, that the move happened the day after Khan won his party's leadership election? I mean, that seems like a bit of a coincidence.
I guess so. I mean, perhaps with the benefit of hindsight, we could say getting the leadership issue over and done with left whoever was the leader in a stronger position. Perhaps that's one issue that they don't have to worry about. They're clearly in charge, and that maybe gave them the green light. But to answer your question, I didn't expect it one day after the leadership decision. I
mean, how much money? I mean, it's difficult. We'll know in future, won't we, pretty soon, how much money they spent. But how much money do you think they have spent and maybe will spend on selling the yen in the future, in the medium term?
Well, I think really it's a question of commitment. The intention signalled today is that they would leave the intervention unsterilised, which obviously is the strongest commitment you can make. And so now, at 7:55 a.m. Tokyo time every day, we'll be looking at the BOJ's release of its liquidity numbers to see how much liquidity they're actually adding. But previous experience, Switzerland, Japan 6 or 7 years ago, suggests if you really want to make a difference, the numbers add up pretty quickly.
OK, Richard, thanks very much indeed. Richard Yetsenga there from
Thank you.
HSBC.